In this video, we are going to create our app store. So right here in the stores directory, I'm going to call it appstore.js. And for the sake of brevity, I'm actually going to paste in some code on this video. So we are bringing in app dispatcher and app constants, which we wrote in previous videos. Again, we're bringing in React's merge utility, and we're also bringing in event emitter from Node. Now, I'm only going to paste in things that aren't Flux related. So the first thing I'm going to do here is create a variable called change event. This is mostly just going to save us some typing. So that is the event that we are going to broadcast anytime something changes. That's the event that our components are going to listen for, or well, our store is going to listen for and update our components. The next two things I'm going to bring in are, again, not Flux related, so I just wanted to paste them in here. We've got our catalog. This is actually representing our catalog of items that you can add to your cart. It doesn't necessarily belong in the store. However, we're not using an external database or service or anything, so it had to go somewhere, so it went here. Now, cart items is just an empty array representing the items in our cart. Remove item is going to remove an item from our cart items. When we are adding an item to the cart, we're going to create a key for that item called in-cart. We're going to set that to false, but this one just ends up splicing the cart items array, removing that item. Increase item does exactly what it sounds like, finds that item based on the index and increases its quantity, which is another key we're going to add when we add an item to the cart. Decrease item is going to do exactly what it sounds like, with the exception that it's going to test to see if the quantity is greater than 0 or not, and if it is not, then we're going to call our remove item function. Add item is going to see if the item's in the cart, and if it isn't, then it's going to add this key of quantity, this key of in cart. It's going to set the quantity to 1, in cart to true, and it's going to push that into our array of cart items. Otherwise, it's going to cycle through the cart items, find the correct one, and increase that item's quantity using the increase item function we just set up right here. So now we're going to create our actual App Store object that we're going to export. And we're going to use merge to extend event emitter prototype. So here's our new object that we're going to be adding to that. Now the first thing we're going to need is a way to call the emit method on the event emitter. It's going to be a function, and we're just going to call this dot emit change event. Pretty simple. The next one we're going to create is add change listener. Now this is a function, takes a callback, and all we're saying here is this dot on change event, and remember that's really just referencing the string change. Do the callback. So this is the way for our components to register with the store, and then the store to say, okay, we're going to listen for this change event, and if it happens, execute this callback. Next one is remove change listener. This is going to be this dot remove listener with the exact same signature. Change event and callback. We're going to need to access our get cart. So this is just going to return cart items. And we'll do the same for get catalog. That's just going to return the catalog. Now this next one, it doesn't actually need a key, because all we're going to do is we're going to register our callback with the app dispatcher now. The reason that we give it a key is if we run into a situation where one store needs to wait for another store, this is an easy way to identify what is being registered by the store. So this will be app dispatcher dot register. Again, we created that in a earlier video, and here comes our callback. So this is the payload that's going to be passed in from our handle view action, which we created in app dispatcher. So I'm actually going to paste in some code again here just for the sake of brevity. And what I've done is I've identified this variable action from our payload, getting that action. This is our action from handle view action. And then the action type of that dictates which private method we're going to call. So if it's add item, we're going to call it add item and so forth. Now this one is passing in the item. The remove items is obviously picking up the index. Then once we get through with that, we're going to do our App Store emit change, which we created up above. And then we're going to return true, because you got to remember this is going into a queue of promises. In order for it to resolve, we're going to have to return true. And then finally, we just export App Store. Cool. We have our store, and now we can move on to tying our components to everything we've created so far. And you know what? We actually have a typo right here and right here. Okay, there we go.